Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to the dangerous Von Manor, where it is another episode of the books that time forgot. Yes, my epic tour of all my books continues, because I know I just did this the day before yesterday, but I got a lot of these boxes to go through, a lot of them, and you don't want me to do it alone, do you? I mean, it's true, I've got Roger back there keeping me company. You know, he doesn't talk much, not since his tongue got cut out. But anyway, I thought you would join me going through all these books. You know, I had to pack all these books up in a hurry when there was construction here at the manor. And I packed them all kind of, well, not in any sort of order at all. So let's see what's in this big old box here. Got a couple boxes. Let's go through the first one and see what's in here. I have no idea, really. Okay, first box. This is a good book. This is awesome. This is Robin Hood, The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood. This is the Howard Pyle version of this book, which is great. This is just a Dover version of this, but it has all of the illustrations in it, which is one of the things you want in this. So yeah, The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood, written and illustrated by Howard Pyle. So that's a good way to start. Maybe this box will be okay. Of course, we have some oddities. Look, it's Sergeant Rex. The Unbreakable Bond Between a Marine and His Military Working Dog by Mike Dowling. It's Sergeant Rex. Yeah, that's the kind of book I normally have lying around. Let's see what else I've got. This is something I normally have. This is the first edition of Blood and Thunder by Mark Finn. There is a second edition of this. This is the definitive biography of Robert E. Howard. It is the most important thing that's been written about Robert E. Howard in 50 years, probably. Excellent, excellent biography. I met Mark Finn briefly in 2010. He does have a new edition, like I said, a new version of this out that's longer. This is a shorter version. Excellent, excellent book. What else do I have? Ooh. Gormenghast. The Gormenghast novels. Everything I see in here, I'm keeping so far. Titus Groan, Gormenghast, and Titus Alone, Mervyn Peake. This is a very, very important fantasy trilogy. Very important stuff, the Gormenghast novels. It's interesting, and it is a whopper of a book. It's a mammoth. Dare? No, I don't think I'll do it this year. I've got too much else on my plate. I was about to dare myself to do it, but no, I'm not going to do it. But I do have this other book. This is a penguin. John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath. What's this penguin doing in here? It's just a loose penguin. It's not with my other penguins. It ought to be. Of course, this is one of John Steinbeck's greatest books. Arguably, it might be his greatest book. East of Eden is up there. It's a tough call between those two, but I think maybe this is better. John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath, magnificent book, just wonderful. You can see that these books don't exactly go together, if you know what I mean. It's just a jumbled mess. Speaking of Robert E. Howard, look, it's Nameless Cults, the Cthulhu mythos fiction of Robert E. Howard. This is pretty cool. Has a pretty bizarre cover there. So yeah. Excellent, Robert E. Howard book. I happen to like this copy, so I'm holding on to that. I know I have all those stories other places, but I like that book. Duel. This is Duel. This is by James Landale. A true story of death and honor. I haven't read this. I should read this. I bought this with the intention of reading it. Have any of you read this book? James Landale's Duel. Anyone? Let me know if I should, plan to read this sometime soon. That's a good one. It looks like. This This is a cheap Barnes & Noble version of this book, but it has great memories. This is the first edition of the Histories that I read. The Histories by Herodotus. This was the very edition that I took with me to Rome. And where did I go that year? This was 2007, and I went to Rome, I went to Bergamo, went over the Alps, stopped by Switzerland, went to Paris. I went to a lot of places, and I took this book everywhere with me, and I loved it. And like I said, this is the first version of the Histories that I read, my very favorite book of all time. And so, of course, I'm holding on to this edition just because of the memories. Oh, this is a magnificent book. I've talked about this book before. This is Robert Graves' Goodbye to All That. This is just a wonderful, wonderful book. Read this book. Read this book. It's awesome. More Than Class, Studying Power in U.S. Workplaces. Anne E. Kingsolver, editor. I have different things in my book collection, I'm telling you. A lot of different stuff. This is more my style, Cavalier and Clay, by Michael Chabon. I've read this twice. I like this book an awful lot. I like this book. I've met Michael Chabon in Berkeley a couple times. He's a nice fella. Good book. Let's see, what else do I have in here? That is not mine. This is the Norton Scores, an anthology for listening. I don't read music. This is obviously the Lady of the Manners book. Let's see if I can dig this out. It's Richard Dawkins. Brief Candle in the Dark, My Life in Science by Richard Dawkins. This should be signed. Yeah, this is signed by Richard Dawkins. The Lady of the Manor and I went to this book signing, and Richard Dawkins flirted with her. He's just this guy, Richard Dawkins. Always flirting. What do we have here? Anthony Trollope, The Way We Live Now. The Way We Live Now. I want to read this book. I want to read this one. This looks... I've heard a lot of good things about this book. I got to read that. Ha! This is, of course, Capital Volume 1 by Karl Marx. This, you might think that this was sent over to me by the Dark Prince of BookTube, Juan at Played by Visions, but no, we had this already. It's not for any political reason. Okay, Lynn Carter, Callisto. Callisto by Lynn Carter. There's a Steranko cover, a pretty good one too. He did some good covers, Steranko. Lynn Carter, Callisto. That was an interesting series. Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castell. This is really good, Traitor's Blade. I really like this book. I read the first two in this series, but I haven't read the third one yet, so that's on my list for next year. The third book in this series, the Great Coats series. I like this series an awful lot. This is an awesome book. This is Savage Season by Joe R. Lansdale. This is the first in the Hap and Leonard novels. And I'm going to reread all of these, all the Hap and Leonard novels. I might reread a lot of Joe Lansdale because I love this writer. And it's been too long since I've read anything by him. And this is a great book, Savage Season by Joe Lansdale. And here is Picnic at Hanging Rock by Joan Lindsay. Good book, Picnic at Hanging Rock. This is like an old movie copy, I guess. They made a movie of this book. Greek drama with all of these folks in it. If you can read all those names, it's a lot of drama in there. And then randomly, I have a Christopher Rocchio book. This is the second in the Sun Eater series, Howling Dark. Again, I read the first two books in the series this year, and a novella that's kind of tied to it. Christopher Rocchio is really good, actually. This is a really good series, Howling Dark. I talked about it in a video that no one watched. when I first started my channel, but this is a good series. I think. I like it. That's Howling Park. And this was what I have here was a very indispensable reference guide. It's still indispensable. It's action. The action movie, A to Z. So this is basically a movie guide published way back when about action movies in the 80s and 90s. The golden age of action movies in the 80s and 90s. And that's what this is about. Has all these movies, and it's got like the guns, 1 to 5 guns, I guess. It just tells you whether these movies are any good, but got Goldfinger there. Goldfinger gets 4 guns. Seems like Goldfinger should get 5 guns. Maybe it's only a 4, no? Because Drunken Master gets 4.5. So this is an indispensable guide. This is by Marshall Julius, whoever he was. Good stuff. And Thomas Cahill, Sailing the Wine Dark Sea. Why the Greeks Matter. If you don't already know why the Greeks matter, read this book. And in here is a cheapo copy of The King in Yellow by Robert W. Chambers. King in Yellow. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. The King in Yellow. And The Band Played On by Randy Schultz. Politics, People, and the AIDS Epidemic. An important book here, and The Band Played On. Man, and I have even more books in here. Okay, let me make some space here. Houdini. The biography of Houdini by William Kalush and Larry Sloman. The Secret Life of Houdini, the making of America's first superhero. Houdini. Famous co-author with H.P. Lovecraft in one of his stories, Houdini. Good stuff. Now, this is a book I like an awful lot. It doesn't look like much from the outside, but this is The Dark Side of Guy de Maupassant. This is his horror stories. A lot of good stuff is in here. The Horla, the Devil, the Hand, just Fear, a bunch of good stories in this book. Excuse the screaming from the other room, if you heard that. The Dark Side of Guy de Maupassant. Anyway, that's one box. I'm going to pack this up, get the other box, and see if anyone died in the other room, because I'm hearing shouting. Okay, no one apparently died. That's always good. All right, second box. Let's see what's in this one. It looks like a bunch of science fiction in this one, so that's always good. What do we have? We have a newer copy of A.E. Van Voigt's Slan, and that's a pretty cool cover, but this is a pretty important science fiction novel, and I've got a newer copy of it. So that's cool. And this is really cool too. This is the Science Fiction Hall of Fame, Volume 1, 1929 through 1964. These are some of the greatest science fiction stories you'll ever run across. Excellent series. This came out in paperback a long, long time ago. And then Tor decided to put out some hardbacks of those paperbacks, and I was really happy they did, so I could, retire my tattered paperback. So this is the first volume of that, and this is volume 2A. So volume 2A, this is novellas. Yeah, this is the novellas, volume 2A. Another wonderful hardback. And volume 2B. I don't know if there was a volume 3. If anyone knows, let me know. So this is the Science Fiction Hall of Fame, Volume 2B. Every single thing I've come across so far, I'm pretty much keeping. I don't see anything I really want to get rid of. That figures. This is a wonderful book. This is Clark Ashton Smith. The Emperor of Dreams. This is the Fantasy Masterworks edition of Clark Ashton Smith's stories, and it's wonderful. It's a pretty big book. It's 577 pages, something like that. Really, really nice. Really, really nice book. Has a lot of his great stories in here. So, The Emperor of Dreams by Clark Ashton Smith. Great stuff. If you find that book, get that book. Okay, what do we have? Oh, this is good stuff. This is Arthur Machen. This is the Collected Fiction, Volume 1, 1888 through 1895. So this is the collected fiction of Arthur Machen. I believe it's all of his fiction is in this 3-volume set, edited by S.T. Joshi, of course. This is Volume 2, 1896 to 1910. Look at that. That is a very Machen cover right there. Creepy stuff, Machen. Just wonderful. And Volume 3. What do we got here? Yeah, 1911 through 1937. So everything else that Machen did. Just a wonderful set of books. I was really happy that Joshi did that. And now it looks like I've just got some random stuff. I'm not sure why all this stuff is in here. Like this one should be with the rest of my vintage science fiction, which I have in an entirely different place down in the vault. But like I said, I was packing this stuff up in a hurry and a lot of random stuff. Like this is all science fiction pretty much and fantasy. So yeah, this is a ace double. This is City Under the Sea by Kenneth Bulmer and Starways by Paul Anderson. Another brilliant Paul Anderson book. Always interesting Paul Anderson books. Yeah, and this has a great cover. So this is a really cool one. I'm happy to have that. I'll put that over there. And this is a book that like everybody from my generation I think had, and that's this Edgar Allan Poe book, 18 Best Stories by Edgar Allan Poe. Got the cat peeking out over the wall. Yeah, so this has his major stories. Mask of the Red Death, Black Cat, The Fall of the House of Usher, all those really good ones. They're in this book. And of course I'm keeping it because, you know, I mean, I don't need to. I have literally everything by Edgar Allan Poe. But again, I like this book. It's one of the, because I think that was one of the first ones that I read. Here's a Robert E. Howard paperback, The Gods of Baal Sagoth. What is in this book? What is in here? The Gods of Baal. Okay, Casanova's Last Song, King of a Forgotten People, Usurp the Night, Curse of the Golden Skull, The Shadow of the Beast, Necht, Semirect, Restless Waters, and The Isle of Eons. So a lot of those are not available in a lot of collections. I have, I think, probably everything, but I'm definitely going to keep this. Got a great cover there, too. Look at that. So this is a really cool one. Love Robert E. Howard. Love stumbling across all the Robert E. Howard I have. This is a pretty cool H.G. Wells book. This is has both The Time Machine and The War of the Worlds, which of course I've got in other places, but this has an introduction by Isaac Asimov. So, you know, and it's got this cool 60s cover of the Martian war machines stomping on people. So that's pretty cool. This is one of my favorite writers, Neil Gaiman. This is Neverwhere, the dark classic of modern fantasy. Yeah, like the cover too. So Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. The only thing I don't like about it is it's one of those stupid tall paperbacks. I don't know. This is a dumb thing they did to make the stupid tall paperbacks so that they don't look good with any of your other paperbacks. Oh well. Here's more Robert E. Howard. This is The Three-Bladed Doom. The Three-Bladed Doom. This is one of his Afghanistan stories. Yeah, this is pretty cool. The Three-Bladed Doom. And I feel like I talked about this recently. This is Almeric. This is Robert E. Howard's Almeric. from the creator of Conan. So this is, I like this book a lot. It's one of his it's his only interplanetary John Carter-ish story, but it's pretty badass. It's pretty good. I like this one. This book is a lot of fun. The hero is just tough as nails. It's awesome. And this is an interesting, I guess I just have a bunch of Robert E. Howard stuff in here. This is an old zebra copy of The Vultures of Wapeton from Robert E. Howard. And on the side here, it says science fantasy, which this is not. This is a Western. The Vultures of Wapeton is a Western. All the stories in this book are Westerns. That and your cigarette ad, which they cleverly placed in the middle. But yeah, these are all Westerns. Robert E. Howard wrote a lot of stuff, and these are some of his Western stories. And he also wrote The She-Devil, Robert E. Howard's The She-Devil. That's pretty cool, The She-Devil. And his pirate stories, Black Volmea's Vengeance, Black Volmea's Vengeance from Robert E. Howard. That's a pretty cool cover there as well. And that's it. And I'm keeping everything. Every single book in there I'm keeping. But it's good stuff, isn't it? What you think, Roger? Roger thinks it's cool. So thanks for indulging me once again. I will do this once again, of course, next week. But catch me tomorrow for the Sunday Penguin, and then Mythos Monday, and maybe even a Tag Tuesday. We'll see. I'll catch you guys later.